So now we'll get into the tools that you need for your specific subfloor installation. Now, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to show you the subfloor, the different kinds of subfloor, as well as the tools that go with it. So what I had to do is I'm going to show you what tools you need for what subfloor, so that the next time we come back, when I talk about the subfloors, then you'll know, okay, I need the drill with the plywood, that sort of thing. So you don't need to go out and buy all these next tools. You just might need to buy one or two, depending on what kind of subfloor. You might not even need any, because there is a subfloor that you don't need any of these extra ones. So what a subfloor is, before I confuse you about that, it's the floor that sits on top of your main base floor. You don't see the subfloor. You don't see when you walk into a house, you don't see the floor, and you don't see the subfloor because the covering is over top of it, but that's the one that it covers with. If it's carpet, you'd probably have like an aspenite or a plywood type, and then underneath that is the floor that holds your floor joists, which we talk about as well, in place, and that's your main support. And then the subfloor is on top, which holds everything just that much tighter, keeps it all together, and then you put your tile on top of that, and we'll get into those. So that's the idea of the subfloor. So if you're going to use what's called a backer board or a rhino board, concrete board, that sort of thing, you want to get into, you'll need to get a drill, whether it's a cordless drill or a corded drill. It's up to you. If you have one or the other, just stick with it. And in this case, a Robertson bit. Now, if you're in the States, you guys only have Phillips. And that's just the difference between Canada and the States. This video was shot in Canada, so I have Robertson bits, which is the square head, and you have the star head, which is Phillips. When you go and buy your screws, that's the part that matters right there. So basically, if you buy a set of bits, you will have one of Robertson, one of Phillips. You'll have plenty of enough, so don't worry about that too much, but just depending on what kind of screw you get. So if you already use backer board, what you need to do is you need to buy a special kind of screw. It's not your regular, like this one's called quickie flooring, which is meant for wood. This particular screw is just for your plywood. The one for backer board, unfortunately, I don't have any on me right now, so I couldn't show you. I'm sorry about that. But it's just a different type of thread, and all you do is you ask for the backer board screws, and they'll show you what you need. So what you do is when you cut your backer board out, you use these screws to hold it down. After you put down a bed of mortar, you put down the backer board, and you use these screws to hold it down. You also need nope, that's not the right one. It's a carbide bit. I didn't grab it. I'm sorry about that. It's basically a blade that's got a carbide cutter on it. And what you use with that for, instead of using a regular knife, is you score the concrete board with it. Then you want to take a pipe, and it doesn't matter what kind. You can take a copper pipe, plastic pipe, whatever. And you set the backboard on top and then snap it down. So you'll also need something like this. If you don't have anything, you can just buy one. Go to the store and just buy a piece of piping for that. And we'll get into how you do that later on. Now, if you go with a plywood, you want to use, obviously, a saw, so a skill saw, to cut through your wood. You can use a handsaw. Do not recommend it. Take you a very long time. It'll be very hard. So just get yourself a skill saw. You don't need to go high end. Just anything will work. Yet another thing you could buy, use somewhere, and to cut through your wood. And then you use those same screws I was showing you, the flooring screws, and your drill, whether corded or cordless, and screw down your plywood into your floor. And that's your tools for that job.